Alright, so I know most of my new subscribers have followed over to my channel from Wutthaduck's channel and have been waiting very patiently to see the P-pump swap going on. Well, here it is. We've got it pulled in the shop. We're getting started on it tonight. Well, we've already had a lot of progress on it. We had a lot of parts show up, and we finally made time to get it in the shop and get it knocked out this week just before December. He's been telling me about this truck show he's been trying to make, so we're going to get it knocked out so he can pick it up this coming Friday, hopefully. We'll see what he says. But either way, we're going to start working on it, get it knocked out, and get it back to him so he can be back to ripping up the streets. Alright guys, so part of our P-pump process, we take the factory paint on the P-pumps, actually use aircraft grade paint remover and strip the paint off them to reveal the nice pretty aluminum underneath the paint, and we leave it like that unless the customer states otherwise. All right, so we're gonna give it one last coat and then come back out with a pressure washer, and get it as clean as possible. Alright guys, so we're going to go and do some pump mods to this injection pump going on Wutthaduck's truck. We're going to start off with doing the governor springs. As you can see, this P-pump has never been tampered with. It still has the original warranty wire on it. It keeps you from messing with it and voiding your warranty. We've got brand new pack brake governor spring kit we're going to put in it. We're going to do a 4K governor springs. And we also have a rack plug. Being that this isn't a 215 pump, the fuel rack does not travel all the way to the front inside the injection pump. So we're going to take the plug that's out here in the front, remove it, and swap it out with the extended rack plug that allows full rack travel all the way to the front. This thing did turn out absolutely amazing after doing the paint strip. So we're going to do these mods. Stay tuned. As you can see right here, you see the rack move forward out of the pump. And inside this one right here is very shallow, so we're going to put a deeper plug in here. It's going to let it travel a lot more. We're going to reuse the old copper washer. Put that right back there where it was. Snug her down, give it a good snug, and call it a day. Here we're going to go ahead and cut the original warranty wire, or the tamper wire as some other people like to call it. You don't have to cut it off there, but I usually just trim it up and cut it off this side of the pump. This comes off with a 5/16 little bolt here. Be very, very careful. There is a Woodruff key right here. If you lose that, you cannot find that in your local hardware store. Cannot. Alright, so I've screwed the nut for the pump onto the front of the pump just so we can turn it over. It is very sprung, so you do have to be very careful. Alright, so we're going to turn it right there where the revealed governor springs. I have a pry bar I've modified just for doing this. Put it right there on it. We're going to count the clicks turning it off. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 2 tight clicks. I'm going to be very careful not to drop anything inside the pump. Come out. These are all your factory springs we're pulling out here. The big spring, you're not going to reuse these springs or the shims in the bottom. The big spring we are going to reuse. This is called the idle spring. You do not want to put that back in. This is the retainer in the bottom that spaces the springs up. From factory, we're not going to reuse that either. And make sure you dig all these factory springs out. This is a spacer for the idle spring. You do want to reuse that. that is all that there is in there. So according to the instructions, you're going to replace the factory retainer with the small one, spacer, whatever you like to call it, and you just drop it down inside the pump. I always put the smallest spring in first. Whenever you do a 4K governor spring kit, it comes with 3 springs. 3 springs total. If you're only doing a 3K, you leave the small one out. Because we're doing 4K. 4,000 RPM, we're going to put all the springs in. And they all just stack in there like this. Put the idle spring back inside the pump on the outside of all those springs. Put the outside retainer on there, just like so. You're going to take the nut, put it right there, and go ahead and get it started. It is a little tricky. You do not want to cross thread this at all though. Some people like to say there's different measurements, different heights of this bolt in the center to go by. I usually try to set it back to the settings when we took it apart. It's usually pretty close and runs just fine. There's one tight click. There's 2 tight clicks. So there's 2 of these springs inside the pump. We're going to go ahead and rotate it to the opposite side. You'll see that. Like I said, this pump is under pressure, so you do have to hold it very tightly. And right there we will reveal the second one. Go all the way back around. Right there on the verge of turning too far. Be careful as you do like this. We took the factory camshaft sensor out of the old BP44 timing case, and through Shy Diesel we bought an adapter that bolts up to the P-pump timing case so it can still monitor the cam and have tach signal. Alright, so fast forward real fast. We've got the P-pump timing case mounted and in the truck, got the cam put back in, got the rockers, push rods, and the bridges back on top of the head. We're going to adjust the valves and try to move forward from here. We're putting a lot of powder coated parts on the truck now. We've replaced the thermostat. It was in horrible shape. Alternator brackets back on. As far as the factory fuel pump mount goes, which is back here in the back of the truck, you'll see right there where it was. We removed that. Instead of chipping that gasket away, which is absolutely horrible job, we're gonna leave it there. If you go to your local parts store, you can buy a big block fuel pump block off plate, which fits perfect over the Cummins fuel pump space. So we're gonna cut this out of the package, get it mounted in there, and get it bolted up. It'll be a nice addition to the truck, especially with the billet tappet cover going in there. Alrighty then, so we've got the valve cover on, got the valves adjusted. This is just a temporary valve cover. Yes, this thing is absolutely hideous. We actually had it sandblasted, and then he told me he had a valve cover already waiting for us, so we're gonna put that on there just so he can get it home. We may change it whenever he comes to pick the truck up, we'll see. But the valves are adjusted, the turbos cover is on it, we've got the elbow on it, everything's adjusted and in place. We'll have the tappet cover put on it tomorrow. We've got the P-pump mount already bolted up. We'll do the final adjustment on that once the P-pump is in there. We're gonna rebuild the vacuum pump while we've got it apart. It's right there, real simple to get to, so we'll go ahead and do that for him, just a bonus for him. We're gonna change this fitting right here to a T-style fitting so it feeds the vacuum pump and the P-pump. So once all that's done, we'll get the pump mounted on there, get it timed, and that will be in the next video. We'll have the pump mounting, the startup video, and the final product in the final video, so check it out. So this is his other powder coated stuff. We had the fan powder coated, both intercooler pipes, the intake manifold, the fan hub assembly. We actually, even though it's been powder coated, we pressed a brand new bearing in there for him. The bearing that was in it was completely shot, and we have the fan hub pulley. So we do have a brand new PDM billet valve cover by Industrial Injection. We went ahead and powder coated it because once they're behind the injection pump, they're almost impossible to get to, and they never stay nice and pretty. So we usually powder coat it the same color as everything else. The reason we go to billet over factory is because it eliminates the possibility of blowing out the factory tappet cover gasket on high boost pressure applications. And with what he's doing with the 363 SXE turbo, he will have a higher than 45 to 50 psi boost pressure depending on how big of injectors we go with the P-pump swap. So this is going to be a nice, badass build. Cannot wait to get this thing fired off tomorrow. Till then, we will see y'all later. Make sure you hit the like button and leave any comments. And be sure to subscribe, please. And this is part 1 of part 2 of Wutthaduck's P-pump swap.